Hey, what's up guys? And before we get started with today's video, I want to give a huge shout out to Savvy Sage. He joined me for this episode of Railworks Sundays, and we talk a little bit about an upcoming route that I've been working on for the past 5 years, the Blackwater branch. And if you've watched the dev vlogs that I've released about this route in the past couple of months lately, you'll know that this route has gotten pretty close to be completed, or at least to a point where I feel comfortable releasing it. And I figured I'd show off a scenario that I'm planning for the route that will be released at a later date. So the route will be released on March 20th, and as a result I decided to show off a little bit of the route here. Now, like I said, the scenarios will not be published with the route on day one, but they will be released at a later date to kind of showcase a little bit more of the route and be a little bit more, well, let's just say you'll be able to explore a lot more in a lot more constructive ways rather than just building your own free roams. So again, special thanks to Savvy Sage for joining me on this episode, and let's get started. What's up guys, it's been a while for Railworks Sundays, and today I'm here with a good friend of mine. Would you like to introduce yourself?
Hi, my name is Savvy Sage, but you can just call me Sage. I create stuff on YouTube, and yeah, that's pretty much it.
Yeah, that's good enough. We're going to be running I'm going to be running a scenario on an upcoming route for Train Sim Classic that I've been working on for the past 5 years. It's the Blackwater branch, but I brought in Sage here because he and I have a bit of a past with this route.
Yes, we do, actually.
So I wanted to kind of briefly touch up on kind of the history of this route. Oh, scenario's already started.
Nice camera.
Yep. You'll probably even hear the music in the background there.
Yes, I can.
So, normally I put music in post, but I'll have to do this after this music starts playing. Yeah, it took me a long time to get this to work. That's enough fuel in the firebox. Oops. But this kind of shows off a little bit of the opening area. Yeah, that, music is courtesy of Heis, another YouTuber that I watch on occasion. Safeties are going off in the background there. Alright.
That was the longest intro I have ever seen.
Yeah, sorry.
In a Train Sim Classic scenario.
Well, I kind of had
I've
to.
seen movies shorter than this.
Well, it's 2 minutes. 2 minutes. Oh, there we go.
At least there would be credits rolling, like, you know, put on-screen credits on it. At least it would be a little more interesting.
Yep.
But, you know.
Yep. So yeah, we got this is a little intro here. Don't really, it's on screen there. Alright, so let me get the signal, the class lamps on here, because we are an extra. There we go. But yeah, we're waiting for the passenger train that we saw in the intro there a little bit to clear the block. Because here he is down here. But yeah, he's got to clear the block. But for some reason, I could never get the signals to work properly. It says we've got to clear. But yeah, that's not true. The other train's in the block.
Who knows? Maybe
I
trying
think
to come up with a good joke here.
Yeah. Well, I think it's because the way I've set up the signals, this one's only going as far as these switches here. I think it just ends here or something like that. So.
Or maybe it's just opposite day.
Maybe.
Yeah, it's probably opposite day. Green means red means green, and yellow means nothing.
Right. I'm taking a little bit of a different approach there. But yeah, this area was actually quite interesting here. This used to be the old. Actually, I haven't shown you up. So this used to be a turntable here. So there used to be a turntable here. There used to be a yard entrance here. In fact, I actually have a few cars just sitting here as static objects, kind of signifying that there's a yard here. You even see that the track's just sitting there. This is all that's left of the old yard.
Yeah.
Some cars and locomotives sitting here. Coming into the yard. So I put in a little bit of switching action here. And yeah, there is a bit of an issue with this particular caboose. You can see.
Missing image, yeah.
Yeah, I'm not sure. That's from Machine Rails, one of their locomotive packs there. So.
Oh, really? I thought it was from Digital Train Model.
No, it's Machine
Usually
Rails.
Has issues with those. I've heard at least.
Yeah, I do have. That's actually Digital Train Model. One of the locomotives is over here. Little switcher I got sitting up here.
Yeah.
It's got the nameplate on it and everything.
Looks like the Seaboard Coastline paint scheme right there.
Yeah, I kind of tried to do it a little bit, yeah.
Yep.
We could still ball in Pacific. Same of the route. Or, well, like the owners of the route at this point.
Nice Pierre Marquette right there.
Yep. Quite a
all
mix.
I know is that one of the... Sorry if I'm interrupting you. All I know is one of the locomotives was used in the... I think it was used in the film Polar Express. I think it was the basis of the steam train from that movie.
Yep. That's actually the Pierre Marquette N1 Berkshires.
Yep. I still like that movie. I haven't watched it in a while, but...
Yeah.
I don't just watch it during the holidays. It is a Christmas movie after all. But it's not Christmas anymore, so... Yeah.
Frisco 1500s. Which I was the one that commissioned this here, actually. I commissioned this locomotive. It's been slightly altered a little bit. We should get the clear soon. Officially, we should be told by dispatch here a little bit.
Have you ever considered pressing tab?
Well, no, I specifically have it scripted where it's supposed to tell us in a second here.
Ah, okay. Fair enough.
I should probably set my reverser forward. And he's doing some switching here. He dropped off that cut of cars, and now he's going to collect these cars. I'm not sure what's going on with the signals here. Oh, there we go.
Train E97 Extra.
Oh, hey, it's you!
You have lights as far as Green Hills.
I know where you got that from.
Yep. We'll release the brakes here. He's not going to clear that switch over there, so he's just going to go a little further. You got 2 blasts on the whistle. Alright. I'll set it to running. Whoops, wrong button. But yeah, back to what we were saying earlier. What I was saying earlier. You've got a bit of a pass with this route a little bit here.
Yes, I do. Before I do that, I should probably turn on the. Let's see here. Oh, I should probably turn on the silent monitoring or whatever because I forgot to do that.
Ah.
There we go. All right. Oh, never mind. It didn't work for some reason.
Ah.
Try that. There we go. Disable. All right. Never mind then. I guess I'll have to hear myself.
Oh, yeah. I forgot about that.
All right. All right. Well, I do have a bit of a history with this one. So this route was originally, if memory serves, this was originally like supposed to be a flagship project for a label that I created called Road Railer Simulations. Anybody who remembers me from the old school SFC days might remember that name. Those in the train sim community might even remember the Road Railer Simulations name. That's because I ran it for, I'd say, about 2 years. I think it was from 2016 to 2018. I was heavily part of the train sim community around that time. I did lots of mods, and sometimes I think I also did some fan-made patches that fixed certain bugs that annoyed me. But one of the biggest projects I had at the time was Century County, which is now Blackwater branch, as you can see right there. But I started work on it back in 2017 using assets from Smokebox's locomotive add-ons, which are very well done, very, very well done add-ons. And one of the add-ons include like tracks and scenery and all that sort of stuff. And yeah, so I used those, and yeah, it turned out a pretty good route. That's a carnival in the background. Or I think it's a amusement park. Yeah,
It's a little carnival, yeah. There's a couple tents over there.
Carnival. It looks nice. Yeah, I think originally there was nothing there, so
Yeah.
yeah, it was a heavily work in progress route at the time. But I did try to expand it. Like I tried adding some variety and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, so I started working the project. I think it was around, if memory serves right, I think it was around September of 2017. I could be wrong though. Again, it's been a long time since I've built this route, so my memories are going to be quite fuzzy, vague, whatever you call.
Yep.
But yeah.
I'm gonna roll on.
So I originally worked in this route. I did some work in it for a little bit, and then I stopped work on it. I think it was around either November or December.
Yeah, because I took over in February of 2020. I
think it was around that time. I gotta see if I still have the route in my files, because I think it might be. I think I still have the original in my files, but it's probably backed up somewhere.
Make sure that switch is line for us. Oh, we put too much fuel in the fire. Oops, wrong way. I get a good shot of this. Yeah, this is about where.
Oh, I saw the billboard in the background somewhere.
Yeah, there he is.
Yeah, there it is. Lovely stretched image of, I think it was the MSTS cover.
Yeah, the old Atari version. Trying to get a good.
Oh.
Yeah, trying to get a good screenshot here.
Ah, gotcha.
That's enough water for now. We are at track speed right now for us. I'm kind of cut down the throttle here. Try to zoom out a little bit. Yeah, I actually had to fill in the trees here earlier. There we go. Alright. Yeah.
Okay, it wasn't September, it was July. Wow. And it was originally called Project Century. I'm looking at the files right now.
Gotcha.
Yeah, I still have them backed up.
Huh.
But yeah, so I worked in this route for a few months.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, there we go. The logo for Century County, the file date is like June 21st, 2017.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and around, I want to say like February 2020 is when I asked about the project, because by that point...
Yes, you did, I believe.
Because by that point, you had left the community.
Yeah, I'll explain a little bit more as to why I did. But first I gotta figure out, like, when I stopped doing the project, because, like I said, it's been a long, long time.
Mm-hmm.
I think I might still have, like, maybe a... But yeah, I still have a bunch of images from the original Century County days, including paint schemes and locomotive stuff that I've since thrown away. And yeah, that's pretty much lost media.
Yeah, I have actually, one of the locomotive liveries I've come up for this route was inspired by one of the old thumbnail images you had.
Yeah.
All right, we're gonna shut down here.
These were pretty good ones.
Yeah.
Yeah, I have photos that I could share with you, but
yeah.
At first I got to figure out the dates, because
I probably should go back.
Some of that
here.
info might be in video form, which I keep all my videos, thankfully, because you know, I want to hoard my history. So
yeah, same here. We're passing.
You know, there's a lot of people that, like, you know, oh, you know, there's like a whole data horror community or something like that, but I'm like, I'm not really a data hoarder. I'm just a hoarder of my own history, because people sometimes ask me about it. Sometimes.
Alright, we've passed the defect detector over there. We should hear a little bit of them.
E-S and P. Milepost 2.76. No defects. Repeat, no defects. Total axle 153. Detector out.
It took me a while to set that up. So I had a little defect detector that goes off once you pass that little waypoint. Alright, kind of coming to a stop here.
Alright, I finally found the picture. So, I started the project on July 15th, 2017, and I ended the project on December 16th, 2017. So, that was about 5 months. Yeah, so I pretty much put an end to it, because, I was beginning to shift priorities to elsewhere. And I ended up leaving the modding community the following year in 2018. At the time, I was still doing, you know, modding. I think the last mod project I ever did was a Canadian National reskin pack. Now, usually what I do is stuff like reskin packs that no one has done well, at least. Like, for example, like in my neighborhood, I've seen like Canadian National SD75i locomotives for many years. So I decided, oh, I'll just do my own reskin of that, and I'll probably include scenarios for a route that I have. And yeah, that's pretty much what makes Road Railer Simulations unique, is not only that these look like something that Dovetail would do. Like, they absolutely look like something that Dovetail would do. And yeah, there was some sort of passion to it. I think the one that was lower rated was the Leasers pack, the First Union Rail and Helm Leasing ones. Those weren't really, I think that wasn't really that popular on Railworks America, as far as I know.
Yeah.
I think I remember when they had ratings, I think it had like 2.5 stars or something, which,
Yeah.
I could see why. But, yeah, after I finished up, I tried to expand Road Railer for a bit, but yeah, like I said, I was shifting priorities to, making, videos covering history and stuff. So I ended up giving it out to, I think it was Steven Jam.
Yeah, Steven Jam took over because
Yeah,
because it eventually became Train Sim Community.
yes. It used to be called Train Sim Corner. When I gave it to Steven Jam, it was Train Sim Corner, and I remained on board for the transition until I ended up leaving completely. You can still download my reskin packs on trainsimcommunity.com today, but I'm not maintaining them anymore.
Yeah.
I don't have any plans to even re-release them on my website, savvysage.net, either, because I'm more focused. The focus now is on preserving history the right way, unleashing the uncommon, if you will. That's pretty much what I do now. I stopped playing the game altogether around 2019, and I think for a few years that was about it. I started replaying it again, but I don't play it as much as I used to. Despite me spending almost $1,000 on DLC over the course of like 4 years.
Yeah, I've spent probably about $3,000 at this point on DLC. So a little bit
That
more.
makes sense.
And that's just
Most of it, yeah. Oh, sorry.
Yeah, that's just on Steam. This locomotive here is not even on Steam, and that's about $16.
Yeah, there are third-party storefronts that offer, third-party DLC, or not DLC, add-ons. Totally well aware of that. I've bought a few, but I usually frequent Steam because it's just more convenient for me.
Yeah.
And that's just a personal preference.
Yeah. And it's a lot easier,
yeah.
too. It's all one place and all that kind of stuff.
Yes.
I should point out that this locomotive, the sounds on this locomotive are all modded by myself. So this is actually a modded sound pack here. And the locomotive itself is actually modded too, because this is not the way like you would get it on the store. That old doghouse tender over there is something that I've added. Oop.
Yeah, I still have the cover art for Century County.
Yeah.
The Short Line of the West.
Right. Yeah, I think I still have an old archive image of the thumbnail image for the route somewhere.
I actually have a whole bunch of archives. I even have some like videos that are kind of lost or part of recorded live streams that I keep.
Yeah.
For historical purposes.
Yeah, just reference material. Just basically archiving and whatnot, which is always good.
Yeah, I agree. Like, it's very important to, preserve your history to ensure that, those mistakes never happen again, which, they haven't.
Yeah, thankfully. All right, we're coming up to Green Hill, which is just outside, just shy of the town.
Okay, I just found the old Century County description. Do you want me to read it?
Go ahead. You're all good.
All right. I'm going to read it in a beautiful, sexy voice, if you don't mind.
Yeah, no problem.
But yeah, Green Hill, that's definitely reference to Sonic right there.
There's actually another reference to Sonic out here. And
Nice.
it's right here, the little house.
Ah,
Little plane and next to a house. It's meant to be representing Tails' workshop. This is also a 2.5% grade, so you can see the logo is kind of struggling with this cut of cars.
yeah, I had a lot of big plans for Road Railer Simulations before I canned it all together. I'm just trying to find, yeah. Yep. But yeah, ever since I gave you the route project to you, you've definitely turned it around. The route looks amazing, at least from the progress, from the version that I played. It looks really, really good.
Yeah. And that's
You're clearly a... Oh, sorry.
And that's an older version I gave you. I've since updated it quite a bit since then.
Well, yeah. Just don't expect me to play it because I'm just there's just a lot of stuff that I would have to purchase, and at the moment I'm not really interested. So yeah. Like I said, I've moved on from those days, but I'm glad you still made good progress. A little known fact, for those Savvy Sage viewers watching this, if you watch my episode on the After Dark guidebooks, these were books based on the After Dark screensavers, flying toasters and everything. There's a clip in that video. It's part of a joke regarding the Net Train screensaver where it showed a train passing by. It was meant to be like from one Mac to another, where it would pass by like the screen, and the leading locomotive was like the Berkeley Systems flyer, Berkeley Systems being the developer of After Dark. And so in that episode I made a joke showing off like modern diesels, and it showed like Berkeley Rail System, and the flying toasters were like diesel locomotives. Like even the little thing on the top right, the rear back or whatever it's called, they kind of look like wings almost.
Yeah, the flares, the radiators.
The flares, yeah, thank you for that. Yeah, even sometimes I forget some certain train terminology. But yeah, so I did a joke. As part of that joke, I did my own reskins just for that episode, just for that one joke. But these diesel reskins were actually being driven on Blackwater Branch, an early version of it. So huge shout out to Shadow Steel for providing me that. Like I said, I did one reskin and recorded all that footage just for that one joke. That's how much effort I put into these videos now.
Yeah. Yeah, it's like...
And it's only like, 5 or 7 seconds long? Yeah, it was just a small joke that I'm like, I think the video didn't get a lot of views, but I'm still proud of that one.
I'll link it in the description, and probably at the end card if anybody wants to watch it.
Yeah, it's a small bit. You'll also learn a lot of new information because, I put a lot of effort into these research. Speaking of which, and Sonic, I just recently released a new Savvy Sage episode on the history of Dolphin Western, a conglomerate that formerly owned Paramount Pictures and Sega decades before they teamed up to give us the Sonic movies.
Right, yeah.
So I wrapped it up, I think it was last week, and at least as of when we're recording this, but I just released it. So I'll put a card in there or whatever, or description. Yeah. All right. I think I've held off long enough. So let me read the Century County Line description that I wrote years ago.
The Century County Line is a fictional Western short line railroad that runs from Carlton to Oldsville. Formerly a Central Pacific/Union Pacific line until 1970.
This is fiction, in case you're wondering.
Yep.
Its current passenger and freight operations are handled by the independent short line rail company, the Century County Rail Company, CCRC. Carrollton, the western side, is where the main operations, engine facilities, interchanging with the Union Pacific, and the largest freight yard on this line are. Oldsville, the eastern side, is where the route ends,
The original version.
and where the smallest main yard on the railroad is.
That's the summary.
Yep. And now that western end, like the western end, I'll show on the map here. That ends right here. That's the end of the original route. This is all the extension here.
So pretty much you pulled the high iron simulations in that regard.
Yeah. And there's actually
at least you did it better.
Yeah. Now I will say there's a couple spurs on the that I like. There was one like there's so there's a couple spurs. This is a power plant spur right here. That leads to a power plant that you can actually operate to. This is the Shenandoah Mines right here. And for any Ghostbusters fans, that should be a direct reference to Afterlife.
I do love that loop right there.
Yeah, that's one of the few places I got to. And then this is the Westwood Lumber Company.
I think I know what that's referencing.
Well, it's not. It's actually not what you think.
I was thinking of when I think of Westwood, I think of the people that made
Command and Conquer.
Yeah.
Well, it's actually technically you could technically put it into that reference, but it's also a reference to a character from the anime that this route is based off of. Like the new name and everything. So I based the name and everything off of an anime that I was going to write a fanfic about an anime, and this route was kind of an extension of that, to some extent. So the whole thing of Blackwater actually came about from an oil, the discovery of oil, not but farther west of here. And it was kind of like, I plan to have this whole history kind of detailed in a future video.
Yeah, you clearly have written a better history story than I.
Yeah. It's kind of clunky because it's based off a fanfic that's based off an anime that's, like, for the most part, it's kind of like a very goofy little thing here. But yeah, got the safeties going off again because I got so much fuel oil in the firebox now.
I got so much fire in the fuel box now.
Yeah, that was my bad. But yeah, we're coming up to Green Hills, which is the name of the town name here. And
cue the Sonic the Hedgehog theme. No.
Yeah. But yeah, fun fact, Green Hill is the name of the Genesis level. Green Hills is the name of the level in the Game Gear version of the second game.
You know, I actually have not played the Game Gear version. I do have I have Sonic Mega Collection Plus on the PS2. I think that does include the Sonic Game Gear games, yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yep, here we go. Gotta put the brakes on because we're coming up to the signal. Because we gotta drop off.
Fail the scenario, yeah.
Well, actually, the signal is clear for us because we have to run around the train and pick up the rest of the train down at the base of the grade.
Ah, okay.
I'm trying to get it where I can actually actually get in. But yeah, that's why the scenario takes so long, is because we're collecting our second cut of cars back down the grade. And I just realized I am low on water.
Oh boy.
50% of water, 50% water in the boiler right now.
50%, that should last you
not very long.
A while.
Not very long with this locomotive because we're going up and down the grade.
Oh yeah. I was more focusing on like iPhone level battery, like, oh, it'll just last me about an hour or two.
I got an approach right there on the signal.
Well, hopefully you'll be able to refill it.
I'm doing it. Yeah, the boiler's already at 60% right now. And the firebox is full of fuel oil. And I will point out that this is not the actual original physics for the locomotive. The physics have, I got a physics pack from somebody on Facebook that sent me updated physics for this locomotive. So, it's just a simple update to make it more oil fired, like to send it around oil firing rather than coal burning, which is what the Machine Rails version was. So, got the train sitting here. Okay, so, okay. Alright, so we got the cars sitting here, and we're going to run around and go back down the grade to get the rest of it. So I'm going to tie a couple handbrakes down so we don't lose the consist.
You want them to roll down the grade.
Yeah, it's level track. There we go. And that is our, yeah, it's basically telling us that we need to get the cars back down the grade. Alright. We're at 90% water. I'm going to hold it there. And we need to get past the switch here so we can actually run around it. Yeah, it took me a while to figure out the lighting and the weather here for this scenario because couldn't for the life of me, like, because I was using the default weather and then I decided to use the Montana Highline weather, which was actually much better in terms of the lighting. Alright, that should do it. Apply the brakes. Stop here. Alright, stop. Self-laps. Alright. Wait here a little bit.
Dispatch calling train E97 Extra. You are cleared to head back down to Green Hill. Just be advised that the signals may not be working properly. Just call the signals ahead of you, as there is nothing coming your way.
Yeah, I still haven't changed the actual thing of like what it's supposed to say, but
I was gonna say, yeah, that might be your twin brother or something.
yeah. All right, clear. Yeah, Green Hill, Maine. That's what we're doing. Okay. Oh, we got to set the lights again. We're going reverse now. Yep. All right. I'm gonna keep this up here. All right. Yep, we got the call the signal behind us. We're approved. Yeah, and this is even after me restarting the scenario to fix the signal issues because I'm not sure why the signals are broken.
This is why I don't play long scenarios.
Yeah. Yeah, there's
Or
a...
even make any.
Yeah. I was dabbling with the idea of just... Because... oh, the car just ran through the crossing there, but okay. But yeah, the whole thing was that I wanted to kind of show off like the main operations of the route because for longer, heavier trains, you had to double the hill anyway. Either that or have double headers going up and down the grade. All right. I'm going to put a little bit of brakes on so we don't run down the hill at high speed. Got the class lamp set to red because we're kind of going backwards. But yeah, this is one of those scenarios that I was like, this is the one I wanted to do the most because it was it was kind of the harder one to do. All right. A little. Oh wait, no, we're fine. A little bit good there, and we're good. Yeah, I have honestly like been like this. I'm kind of proud to announce that and I've said this on one of my discords here that I operate, the TS Diesel Works Discord, which will be linked in the description down below, guys. But I am very proud to say that this will, by the time this video comes out, this route will probably be almost ready to release in a very work in progress state. It won't be fully complete by just yet, as you've seen in the video, but I hope to have this route released on the 20th.
Springtime.
Yeah. So,
And you're speeding.
Oh, yes, I am. All right. Just a little bit. I'll shut down the throttle entirely here. And there we go. We've cut our throttle down there. Yeah, I didn't see that. I was like focusing on what's ahead of me.
Well, you're going on a downhill grade, so yeah.
Yeah, I'm trying to keep I'm trying to run with the brakes on a little bit. But yeah, it's kind of difficult to get down here. And I've got the fire down a bit. We're at 26% of on the firebox now. Whoops. Do it again. This is freight speed. Passenger speed is about 30 miles an hour down this hill. But we're finally at the base, like at the point where we can start picking up speed here. Now I will say that there's supposed to be a line of grass all the way down the middle of the track here. So that kind of like feels a little more, there's a lot more like foliage here, but because the winter time, during the winter, it just kind of cuts down the grass a bit. All right, well, that should be enough. We're at 30 miles an hour here. Burn up the fuel here. Are we? Okay, well, interesting. Let's keep the... Yeesh. I'm on 33 miles an hour right now. Put on the water here because we're going to level out here for a second as we hit the bridge. Yeah, we're at 73% of the boiler when we hit the level track. And then we're going to go back to 100 here. We're going back downhill. Yep. Alright. And our switches should be aligned already for us to go back downhill. Or back down to the other track. Yep, we're going here. We're aligned for that. And we need to make sure our signals are clear. Cleared ahead. Good to go. Alright. I will say that I actually had to do a bit of route editing a little bit because it turns out that I was derailing just at the right as the grade kind of transitions up there to 2%. And that was that was like screwing with me, as the train would derail due to, quote, excessive tilt. And it turns out I was hitting a bump in the tracks enough at a high enough speed where it was just throwing me off the tracks. Oops.
So it's kind of like that one test track route that had like a bump on the track. I remember driving a German train over it, and there was one car that I think was connected to another one, and once it hit that bump, it just derailed off the track.
Yeah, if you get a high enough speed, like it's especially problematic with the super elevation if you don't do it right. If you hit it at a certain speed, it will just jump the tracks.
Now, with American cars, that's not a big deal, but with German cars, because it was like two
It was
cars attached, yeah.
Articulated, yeah.
Yeah, I think is articulated?
I think the ICC, which is the main one, I think you're talking about the high-speed train. I think there is...
No, I'm talking about freight.
Oh,
the
freight?
DB ones, yeah.
Okay. I wouldn't know. I haven't used much of the German stuff on, like,
I only used it once years ago. Again, mine's fuzzy, but I do remember it jumping off the tracks.
Yeah.
When it hit that bump. But cars that don't have that thing were fine. So, it cleared fine.
Yeah. I will say I do have, like, the Shenandoah mine area. That track is extremely rough. So I've actually set the speed as low as 15 all the way up that line. And it's like 3 or 4 miles long of 15-mile-an-hour running. I think it's pretty long.
So basically, to prevent derailments, you decide to pull a Penn Central and just decrease the speed limits.
Yep. Which, granted, that was kind of the point. I really wanted to have the train shake and bounce around a whole bunch. And that was
One had that 70s vibe, yeah.
Yeah. Because it was meant to be a mining line. It is a mining line. And that's where all that... basically, I have it's one of those areas where the route is meant to feel like, oh yeah, this is an obvious branch line, this is an obvious section of main lane trackage, so on and so forth. And like there's a branch line within the branch line, the industrial spurs, I guess you could say. And that's what the Shenandoah line is. Okay, we're coming into the siding here, and we're going to collect those cars up there.
Probably slow down while you're at it.
Yeah,
Or just pair.
Yeah, I've got the brakes on. I'm just kind of coasting as much as I can without using too much fuel. All right. We still got a ways to go before we actually hitch into them. All right. Yeah, I actually recently went through and redid all the mileposts too, so I could actually figure out where that defect detector that's down there is set up at.
By the way, if you heard cracking sounds, that's just me cracking my knuckles.
Mm-hmm.
I did another Sonic reference.
Mm-hmm. Yep. Yeah.
Anyway.
Yeah,
you have a long ways to wait to go.
Not very.
If you have any questions you want to ask me, go ahead. Because,
I will say, you don't have to talk about it here, but like you did mention that you left the community. I'm assuming.
Yes, I did.
And that was due to drama that you don't want to get into.
Yeah, drama might have been. There was some community drama. I remember. There was some drama there, but every gaming community, as I've later learned, every gaming community has some form of drama, and then like it starts off pretty bad, and then like after a while it just goes downhill a little bit.
It just
like,
gets annoying.
It boils over pretty much.
Yeah.
And
I will say I've only heard your testimony about it, and I will say that I have learned nowadays that the train sim community is just nuts. Like
oh, go ahead.
Yeah, it's just like I've come across so many people in this community that are just like, we're arguing about little details. I actually had an argument just today, as of this recording, about whether or not Rail Simulator and Railworks are the same game.
They kind of are, technically.
And that's what I was coming at. It was like, I thought it was more of a name change. The guy was arguing that it's not actually the same game. It was made by two different developers. And I'm like, then...
Well, they're the same engine, aren't they?
Yeah. Yes, I believe so.
Yeah, they're not the same game, but technically, they use the same engine. So if you had a Rail Sim add-on, you could run it with Railworks.
Right. And I believe...
So in a way, it's backwards compatible. They're not the same game. I could see where the guy arguing that, Railworks and Rail Simulator are not the same game. I can see where he's coming from. But, much like the Switch and the Switch 2, they're not the same system.
Right.
Just one is backwards compatible with the previous generation.
All right, we're hitched in. Got it. Got a train hooked up. And I'll kind of set things up here because we got the handbrake side and everything, but I don't want to run off just yet.
The more interesting bit... Oh.
Yeah. I had to tone... Like, that is my voice. I just toned it down a little bit to kind of sound deeper.
Yeah, I'm very familiar with that.
You are cleared back up Green Hills. Once there, you will receive further train orders as soon as you put your train back together.
Yeah, again, I have yet to fix that text there.
Yeah, it's called a beta.
Yeah. And this scenario won't be released alongside the route when it's out.
Of course.
I do want to get a few things set up beforehand.
Yeah, in regards to voice acting, I'm no stranger to it. Remember doing it years and years ago. The fan favorite Technology Showdown, like I did a lot of voice acting with that. Like for like one of the characters, I had to do like a rough and tough voice or something like that.
Yeah.
So So yeah, and then another one I had to like use a high pitch filter or something.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, I'm no stranger to it.
Yeah. But yeah, it's just I will. My whole argument was that it was a name change, and that he was using Wikipedia as a reference, and like
Yes. Okay, I really want to go on a tangent here because
Okay.
I stopped crediting Wikipedia. Like, I still use it, but I stopped crediting it whenever I, have a... If you go to my website, and you go to watch my videos there's a little button that says looking for sources. You click on it and it shows all the sources that I used for the episode. Some of the earlier ones, I used Wikipedia, but, thanks to some advice from a wise man that I won't mention, but it is a very popular YouTuber that I work with, I stopped crediting Wikipedia because when you really think about it, it is more so a portal to, references that they use to build that wiki article.
Mm-hmm.
So I just use the sources from that and then go from there.
right.
Which I think is a wise decision to make. So, and if I can't find it, then I'll find an alternative source that has that same information in there, as long as it's not from Wikipedia or... Now, it's a specialized wiki, like, if it's a specialized wiki for something like a nonprofit, for example, that I will make an exception to. But, I stopped crediting Wikipedia because I've seen... like some there's unreliability there. Like there are some sources, like the Berkeley Systems wiki page, for example, they have like a specific piece of information that was left there since 2006.
Right.
And they never credit the source for it. So, yeah, that frustrated me for many, I'd say years, but it frustrated me for a long time because, like, when I did the research, it was kind of far from the truth, or at least it was close to the truth, but not quite.
Right. Yeah, there's a famous example that I've always pointed to, is the Denver and Rio Grande Western K37s. The Wikipedia states that they were converted from standard gauge locomotive when that's not actually the case. It just so happens that only the tenders were converted from standard gauge. The locomotives were completely built from standard gauge.
I'm curious where they get the source from.
The foamers, like there's no source.
Yeah, no source. You can't trust.
Right.
Yeah.
And the YouTuber I mentioned for the music at the beginning, Heiss, he's actually gone in and edited the Wikipedia page to remove that, but people keep putting it back in.
That's trolls for you.
Yeah.
This is not the first time I've encountered this. So going back to the story of, leaving the train security, it was actually more gradual. Like, I stopped playing it in 2019. Like I said, I still do play it on occasions, but not as much as I used to. I left the mining community around 2018. Around this time, I was discovering a new franchise. I guess I could talk about this. It's a series of party games from a company called Jackbox Games. You probably have heard of them. Very fun games, and they make these fun party games that require like a room code. You go to like a website, you type in a room code, and you join the game through there. Very good technology for playing these games. So I'm part of the community, and there is a fandom wiki about the company and stuff. And I've heard plenty of horror stories regarding people, like there was a moderator who was a miner, apparently. Not moderator, one of the main admins for that wiki was a miner, apparently. A very immature one at that. And I've heard stories of, like for one of the games, for example, one of the game pages, like they tried to shoehorn like their own headcanon down people's throats. To the point where he or she could keep reversing it even after they removed the change. That administrator ended up getting blocked permanently, which thank God for.
Right.
And this is not the first time. Another troll, like for an adult-oriented pack, also modified the page to say like, oh, this game pack shouldn't exist or something like that. And they ended up also banning that user. So I was getting like sick and tired of this and there was some information that was just flat out wrong. No sources. And the sources that they did use, they use it as a form of a link and not like an actual citation like you're supposed to do.
Right.
So I finally got fed up with it, and so I ended up teaming up with the guy who ended up with a person, not guy or gal, or person that ended up, that was the new admin for that fandom wiki, and so that ended up culminating, if I'm pronouncing it right, in the creation of a new Jackbox wiki that would be non-profit, no ads, and it would be a proper Jackbox wiki done right.
Right.
Like it would actually have cited sources, it would have a lot more information, proper release dates, and I do a lot of this research. This isn't like something you do like overnight. This takes like usually months or years to like research to ensure it's factually correct, and so it's the same thing I can say for the history of Dovetail games, like, and especially Railworks and stuff. Like as you mentioned before, someone said like, oh, Railsim was like, Railworks is basically a rebrand Railsim. That's not actually true when you really think about it, because I actually found, I think it was a press release that I found archived. The Wayback Machine is like one of the most powerful tools on the internet right now. Like researcher, like as a guy who researches history, it's been a very valuable tool for me. But I found a news article, I think it was from the developers of Railsim. They announced like a sequel. I think it was called Rail Simulator 2 Railworks.
Yes.
I have the source for it. If I could find it, of course. I have it listed in my sources, but I've literally, like, the source list is very, very long, so I'll have to find it. But, I did find it. Yep, there it is. Rail Simulator 2 Railworks. It was announced back in March of 2009, and this was archived, thankfully.
Yeah, that was kind of what we were getting at, because Dovetail actually, on Dovetail's own website, they mentioned that they were developers of Railsim, and that it's dated, I think 2009 is when they announced that it's specifically on their video that it was June 12th, 2009 is when Railworks came out.
Yeah, on Steam.
Yeah.
Yeah. But yeah, originally Railworks was originally a sequel to Rail Simulator, and then RSC bought RailSimulator.com. They ended up buying the rights to the RailSim IP, I believe. And there was another company that also developed Rail Simulators, RSDL, I believe, Rail Simulator Developments Limited, I think. Yeah. So that company was put in charge of all Rail Simulator development going forward. Electronic Arts published the game both in the UK and in North America. Yeah, EA published Rail Simulator back when it first came out. They ended up buying the new entity, RSC. They bought the rights, the publishing rights to Rail Simulator 2's Railworks or Rail Simulator in general from EA. So it essentially became an indie game, like kind of an indie game going forward. And that RSC today is now Dovetail Games. And I think a little known fun fact, I can at least, if memory serves correctly, the guy who founded give me a second. Like I said, I have a long list of sources that I've used. Yeah. Yes. The guy who founded RSC was a guy named Paul Jackson, and he was responsible for establishing the UK offices for EA before they bought their first development studio. You might have heard of it, Bullfrog. They did the theme park, theme hospital games, all that stuff.
I've known them from the Dungeon Keeper series.
Yeah, Dungeon Keeper too. Yeah, Populous and a bunch of others. Yeah. So, but Paul Jackson started up EA's first UK offices, and then he went kind of indie, I guess. I don't know if you can call it indie, but yeah, he was part of EA until he left the company. I think a few years later afterwards, he went on to form RSC. I don't know if he's still with Dovetail today.
I think he has since left. Matt Pedelson, I think, is still there, but
yeah, Paul Jackson's retired. I'm looking at his LinkedIn. Yeah, 2023. There you go.
Yeah, because that was right when they were bought by Focus Entertainment, I think.
Yeah, that one surprised me actually. Like, that one actually did surprise me.
Yeah, because I have a buddy of mine that actually plays SnowRunners, which I think is one of their bigger projects from Focus.
Yeah.
And he was just talking to me today about like how he thought they were going to change a lot, that they were going to do better quality projects when they were bought by Focus. I'm like, no, I don't.
I don't think he's ever heard of decentralization in business. I talk about this in my Golf and Western episode for the Savvy Sage series. Yeah, basically, like, if they're doing fine, just leave them alone. Like, the reason why they bought them is probably for their IP and other stuff. Just to add to their portfolio, just like what Golf and Western did. Like, they provided they took over these companies to help provide the, financing and all that sort of stuff. And I think that's what Focus is trying to do.
Right.
They're trying to help build them as a business. If it ain't broke, don't fix it. Even if it's controversial, if it ain't broke, don't fix it.
Yep. And that was kind of the situation I thought was going to happen, because I know that Railworks and Train Sim World is their big cash cows. So
yeah, Train Sim World especially, like, that's like their console cash cow, I guess you could call it. They've gotten into publishing too. Like, apparently they published the console versions of Catan.
Yeah.
Which that one kind of surprised me a little bit. Like, wait, really? They now publish board game adaptations? Okay.
Yeah.
I don't know if they still do. Let me see. Oh yeah, they still do. Yep, the console edition of Catan.
Yep.
Yeah, Dovetail Games publishes it.
My family has actually played the actual board game of that.
Yeah. But I guess what really fascinates me... Oh yeah, Focus Entertainment. Actually, I think Focus Entertainment changed their name. The parent company, at least, changed their name recently to Pull Up Entertainment.
Yeah.
Which includes Focus.
Yeah.
So yeah, they didn't end up changing their name to Pull Up Entertainment. I believe they also own the developer behind one of the recent Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles games.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I'm like, okay, well, at least they've diversified quite a bit, and they have their hands on developers that are very well known.
Yeah. At this point, like, it's not like they're not going to change much of anything. And
yeah, they're just going to let them, keep their creative freedom, which is fine.
Yeah, it's better than changing everything and then getting worse products for it.
Well, unless you're Paramount, which they were pretty much nearly bankrupt by the time Golf and Western bought them, so it kind of makes sense.
Right.
On that regard, yeah.
So I'm coasting right now. I'm trying to get a screenshot for the thumbnail. So we gotta, oh yeah, there he is. I gotta turn off the blower.
I guess that's the reason why, like, Dovetail never really mentions, like, in their logo would probably say, like, Dovetail Games, a pull-up entertainment company. Like, they don't mention it on their website or anything. They just, keep operating like nothing ever happened.
Right, because at the end of the day, they're doing okay, so.
Yeah.
Okay, slowing down here. Okay.
Another thing I also bring up, I'll probably let you...
No, that's fine. I'm just trying to get a thumbnail
there you
here.
go. Oh, you're just stopping, okay.
Yeah.
One thing I think is found that's really interesting is in my Golf and Western episode, I talk about like, the decentralization model. It's kind of, when you compare it to something like Berkshire Hathaway, which is like a huge conglomerate, they own BNSF and a restaurant chain, Dairy Queen. Mm-hmm. And I could just imagine a scenario, like I remember years ago, like when I found out about this fact, I'm like, man, they didn't even do... missed opportunity for integration right there, where you could you could create like Burlington Northern Santa Fe flavored slushies or blizzards or whatever. If you wanted to go that route, I'm not saying you should, but like,
I mean, what would that taste like? Grease?
No, the Burlington Northern one would probably taste like lime, and Santa Fe would probably be lemon, and BNSF would be orange flavored.
Right.
That kind of makes sense, yeah.
Yeah. All right, so we've done a couple there. We're gonna.
And North Pacific would probably be lemon blackberry.
Yeah.
Yeah. Now I'm coming up with some really fun little ideas of how it would work.
Yep.
But yeah. Again, decentralization business. It's just like I said, it ain't broke, don't fix it.
Mm-hmm. So we finally finished up taking both cuts of cars here. We just need to put them together, and that's it.
Oh, so that's the end of the scenario?
Pretty much. It's just, and there's supposed to be, I'll probably put them up on screen later in post, but there were supposed to be train orders that I was supposed to get, like an actual image of train orders that I was supposed to get when we left Stovall, which is the town at the base of the grade there. I didn't even mention that the town that I started at was Stovall, and then and this is Green Hill. There's actually a few little towns here, so for Green Hills.
How many tasks do you got left? Just
not
curious.
very much here. I'm actually I think this is the second to last. Yeah.
Okay. Well, we still got time. We still got time to talk about stuff, I guess.
Yep.
Yeah. So. Yeah. So I left the community after I got into this, party game franchise. I slowly started to lose interest in the simulation genre in general, because I was kind of a fan of it for a while, but then I kind of started to lose interest, and I left the modding community first, and I left the community in general. Yeah. Like I said, I still play the game on occasions, but I just don't play it as much as I used to. I still have to play around with some DLC though. I haven't touched any of them since I purchased them.
Oops. I just noticed this is a
oh wow.
Yeah, that's one of the old Promontory Summit telegraph poles that I have there. I did not realize I left it there. I wonder how long that's been sitting there.
Probably millions of years now.
A lot, probably at least 5, because I replaced these pretty quickly.
Oh yeah.
Okay, we gotta slow down here. Because
so
go ahead.
I'll explain a few. One last thing before if you, like I said, if you have any other additional questions,
go ahead.
You can ask me. But yeah, the original route requirements for Century County, I think there were only 3 routes. I tried to keep it as minimal as possible because I wanted to, be more accessible and stuff. Yeah, that clearly didn't work.
Yeah.
It was Sherman Hill, the Smokebox, Central Pacific Jupiter, which included all the scenery assets and all that, and Sacramento Northern,
which are still required, by the way.
Yep.
Yeah.
Oh, and I have a route backstory. I almost forgot to read it. Yeah. So you've got Oldsville, Succumberland, Old Miller's Trestle and Lake, Angelo, or is it Angelo? I don't know. And Carrollton, or Carlton, whatever you pronounce it as. Yeah. Let me go ahead and read the route backstory. This is the original route backstory.
The Century County Line's history dates back to the late 19th century, when the Central Pacific and Union Pacific began operations of this line in 1887. The Central Pacific 4-4-0 Jupiter led the first passenger train on this line. During the line's first few decades, Central Pacific and Union Pacific each owned a 45% stake of the line, with the city of Century County owning a small 10% stake. I don't know how that would work. Steam locomotives were used as the main power on this line, mainly the Consolidation 280 after UPRR retired the last of their 440 locomotives, lasting until shortly after World War II ended. During World War II, steam trains were reaching its peak. Don't you mean their peak? Bad grammar right there. During the beginning of the diesel era, very few diesel locomotives were being made due to steel and other materials being used for the war. During this time, Union Pacific began running their famous steam locomotives, which include the Big Boy and the Challenger. How would that work? On the Century County line for transferring... Wow, I spelled it with an R, single R, not two R's, I think. War vehicles, for transferring war vehicles and equipment from the eastern side of the line, Oldsville, to the western side of the line, Carrollton. About a year after the war ended in 1946, Central Pacific sold their stake of the line to the Union Pacific, giving Union Pacific a 90% stake of the line, with the city of Central County continuing to own its 10% stake. The 10% stake should be its. Man, I had bad grammar back then. Shortly after the sellout, what? Union Pacific discontinued normal passenger operations, except for excursions, now handled by the city of Century County, but continued freight operations from there, viewing it as more of a branch line. Union Pacific also imposed restrictions of only 4-axle locomotive. Okay, how would you be able to run Big Boy and Challenger on a line that requires 4-axle locomotives? We may never know. Only 4-axle locomotives on this branch line due to weight limitations on some of the bridges, which is still in place to this day. Again, it's all fiction. Union Pacific continued to operate on this line until into the 18. I almost said 18. Man, I am screwing up today. Union Pacific continued to operate on this line into the 1960s. On one occasion, a GP35 demonstrator unit from GM EMD ran on the line from Carrollton to Oldsville and then back. Operations continued until March 24th, 1970. When Union Pacific sold their stake of the line to the city of Century County and abandoned the line altogether. Shortly after the sellout, an independent short-line company, also partially financed by the city of Century County, the Century County Rail Company, CCRC, was formed on March 25th, 1970 to control both freight and passenger operations of the former UP line. Their first purchase in April 2nd, 1970 were 2 Alco units, former ATSF RS-1 and a former Western Pacific S-2. After patching the locomotives and improving the track a bit, the CCRC began operations on April 15th, 1970. So then we got passenger excursions. The CCRC also operates passenger excursions with CCRC's built replicas of Central Pacific's 440 fleet, the Jupiter, Storm, Whirlwind, and Leviathan. I can't pronounce it well. Leviathan, thank you. Union Pacific 119, and Central Pacific's set of coach, caboose, and flat cars. The steam power are usually well maintained by expert engineers at Carrollton's excursion engine shops and yard. Yeah. Route speed limits: freight on mainline 25 miles an hour, passenger on mainline 30 miles an hour, yard limit 10 miles an hour. And that's pretty much it. Yeah.
Now,
so yeah, that was the old backstory.
It's funny you mentioned the RS1. I actually have started reskinning an RS1 specifically for the for this route, that because the RS1 is available from Machine Rails. I think it's an RS1. It's either an RS1 or an RS3, but it's one of the I've started reskinning the locomotive, and that was actually one of the locomotives that departed here. Was an RS3 or one of the two.
Yeah.
So it's kind of funny you mentioned that, because I actually plan to have one of those featured on the route as one of the scenarios is called the museum train, which is an excursion pulled by an RS1.
Ooh, I guess I was way ahead of the game. Yeah. But yeah, this was supposed to be much more ambitious, but I just backed out because yeah.
All right.
I was handling way too much, and I think I made the right move to focus on at least one or two things, mainly a couple. I mean, I'm still versatile, but yeah,
I was juggling way too much.
Yeah.
And that's it. The scenario's complete.
Yep. There's supposed to be train orders that popped up here, but I haven't even made that yet. So,
Well, it's almost 90 minutes, so
yeah.
I guess it's close.
Yep, it's pretty good. But yeah, that's the scenario, guys. It's just
Yeah, that's the backstory of how Blackwater Branch came to be, and yeah, how I tried to come up with something good, but yeah, fell short.
Oh, I did.
And yeah, you can see an homage to Century County in the thumbnail right there.
Yep.
So-
That's actually that was inspired. It's even got the route map on the top there. So,
Yeah.
but yeah, that is this route will be available by March 20th. I will link that in the description once it's out. Thank you, Sage, for joining me on this particular episode of Railworks Sundays.
No problem.
I will link his channel down below, guys, and thank you guys so much for watching, and I'll see you guys next time. All right, that's it.